So as you know, we're switching to ArcGIS Online for the duration of our last lab experience. This is a great example of that tool in action. This is made by Johns Hopkins University, and it is displaying the COVID-19 cases at the highest resolution of data available, which is the state or provincial level in some cases, or the national level in others. So if you zoom in, you can see Maine, relatively small dot right now, New York, relatively large dot, Washington, California, relatively large dots, all of this data on the same scale. Iran is obviously having a rough time right now. That is the Wuhan province in China where this originated. There is the city of Wuhan. And you can see the road networks. You can really learn quite a lot about a country from this kind of data set, where there's the very populated, heavily roaded areas here, and then there's the more rural grassland provinces out here. As far as I know, yes, that's Mongolia, so lots of grassland and steppe out here. And here's Europe. And when you open this, I'm recording this on March 19th. When you open this, this number will be different, and all of these numbers will be different, and everything will have changed. And this is a great, unfortunate, but great example of why a lot of GIS is moving to the online platform, where this has the ability to read data sets and display them in real time, where the old way of doing GIS is somebody like me or you, once you're in the profession, to have a bunch of data sets and produce a map from those data sets. And then that map goes out to the audience. And that map will have a date on it saying this is the data as of March 19th. And the situation after that is a question mark, that the situation continues to develop. What this is doing, instead of producing a static output, it is producing an almost living, breathing web document where the information is all there. It is interactive. You see the roads go away as I zoom out, the roads come in as I zoom in. As I zoom in farther, I'll see more roads, more detail, all sorts of information available here to you as you scroll around. So whatever information you, the audience, want to know, if you want to know what's going on in Czechia, the Czech Republic, renamed Czechia in the last couple of years, and there's a bunch of information about Czechia. If you want to know about Belgium, there's your information about Belgium. You're no longer squinting at a little tiny piece of a map trying to interpret that. So that is tremendously useful and powerful. And this is the way a lot of forestry companies are going as well. I was just having this conversation with somebody from the company that drives yellow trucks, and they are moving to a platform a lot like this, where 15 years ago the GIS was done by the GIS guy, and your field foresters were working with maps produced by that person. More recently, they moved to everybody has laptops with GIS, and they produce maps for the operators. They show what they would like them to do. And that often came in the form of an Avenza map, a georeferenced PDF, where if you load it onto the app, it shows where you are on that map, whether you're in cell range or not, and that's tremendously useful again. But it's still a static product. You can't change it in real time. The way they're moving now is to have a platform like this, where, say I'm the field forester, I would like to build a road. I would like to build a road right here, thank you very much, and go into Ringelsdorf Forest, and I draw a line here. This is my new road, and I let the supervisor know I've proposed a new road. The road supervisor might look at that and say, no, 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 I need that road to go just a little bit over here this way, and he can adjust the road. And with that adjustment made, that is now live to the person who is constructing the road. And they have the most updated data available whenever they last had internet service, of course. And if they have some sort of a satellite connection to the internet, then they can have that in real time. So they know exactly where the road should be built, according to the field forester they're working with the supervision of the road supervisor or whoever else. So this is becoming a very common platform. You are likely to see this and use this. I'm going to include a link in the description below to a number of very good maps, or you can call them maps, they are sort of that, and I would like you to explore them. You can click on things and get information for a particular thing. If you click on these little expand buttons, you can get full screen, go back to the dashboard, they call it. If you want to know total deaths, you can expand that. This is, of course, a terrible thing to be excited about, but this is a really good use of the platform. So it is also useful to you as you'll seek to understand what's going on. So I'm going to include some links to maps for coronavirus, for the southern pine beetle monitoring and treatment programs in the American South, to some other things I find interesting. And I'm also going to include a link to a YouTube video where some gentlemen are using an enterprise or online GIS to track the inoculation of American elms in Europe. And they get the Dutch elm disease. They can be inoculated with a less virulent strain of a similar disease, and in so doing trigger their immune response to fight the Dutch elm disease, which is very useful. But they're using that to monitor in real time the treatment, and that parallels what they're likely going to be doing to monitor treatment for the human situation, where if they have a treatment facility that has such and such resources, I'm guaranteed they have these already, that they can track in real time. Look, this hospital needs ventilators, this hospital needs masks, this hospital needs, of course, everything. And in that way, oversee the distribution of resources. So these things already exist, but we can, of course, see them. This is the public-facing version. The versions that are being used by hospital administrators or government are, of course, going to be more complex and have data sets that we as the public do not have instant access to for obvious reasons, but it is a tremendously useful tool that you are going to be using a lot in your future careers. So it's useful in a way that we're starting now. So what I want you to do for this assignment is I want you to look at all these resources, all of these different maps and dashboards, and I want you to come up with 10 questions for me. And I'm going to respond to those questions in a video. And it's going to be one for each of you, so between GIS 300 and FOR 242, you're both using the same platforms. You're going to have about 20 of you asking me questions, and I'm going to have 20 responses to 10 questions each, so I'm going to be answering about 200 questions. And if you don't want your name being used in a YouTube video, then call yourself some pseudonym. So if your name's Jack, you can call yourself Sparky19, I don't care. But I will be responding in an interactive way to whatever questions you have. And I hope that interaction is better than just listening to bland videos that have nothing to do with you besides broadcast your class. And that's going to be the assignment for this week. So GIS 300, you have one other thing to do. That's recreate Lab 2 to get to know the platform a little bit with a familiar process. But for both FOR 242 and GIS 300, explore the tools, explore the technology, ask me 10 questions, anything to do with it. I'm going to make a space in Blackboard for those to come in. And within the week, I'm going to have those responses done up. And hopefully I get some good questions. I'm going to do my best to answer all of them. Some things are, of course, unknown and unknowable. But if I don't know and the information can be found, I'll find you that resource. And that can make this a little more conversational. And we'll see how that goes and reevaluate, see how we're doing for next week. In the meantime, good luck, enjoy, and let me know if you have any questions or problems, and I will help in every way I can.